If you could be president for 32 days, what would you do? If you knew you could sit in the Oval Office for just over a month, what topics would you focus on? What problems would you try to fix? What would you do with that immense power for such a short time? You see, every president, when they're elected, they believe in their heart that they've got 4 years to change America. Some of them hope that they'll have 8 years to get things done. But what if they only had 32 days? That's what happened to William Henry Harrison, the old war hero from the Battle of Tippecanoe and the War of 1812. When he was elected, he only lived for 32 days before he died. He didn't know that that's as long as he would have, but maybe there was a deep part of him that kind of did, because when he gave his inaugural address, even though it was raining, even though it was cold, his inaugural address, his first speech as President of the United States, lasted 2 hours. This guy covered everything. He had allusions to Greek history. He talked about his dream for America. He talked and talked and talked. Now, some people say that the reason he got sick and died was because he talked for so long. He wanted to show everyone that he wasn't an old man. At the time, he was the oldest person elected for president. And to prove his virility and his strength, he stood out in the freezing rain with no hat and no overcoat. People say that he caught pneumonia, and that's what killed him a month later. But that's actually not true. He was fine for a week or two. He ended up getting another bug and getting sick from that. He didn't die from pneumonia. Based on his symptoms, modern doctors think that he probably died from some kind of GI issue. You see, the White House's water system at that time came from a place really close to where a lot of the sewage of DC was dumped. And several presidents who got sick or who died, they are now saying it was probably connected to that bad water. See, William Henry Harrison had no idea that he would only have 32 days. And we really have no idea how many more days we have. People die every day who are expecting to live for another decade, or another 50 years, or at least another month. There's a verse in Lamentations that talks about God's loving kindness and his faithfulness. And it says that the Lord's mercies are renewed every morning. You see, there's something special about a new day. It's a gift. And just like William Henry Harrison had 32 gifts of being alive as president, we have gifts of being alive as wherever we are. Sometimes it's easy to take for granted being married, or being a father or a mother. It's easy to take for granted being an American, or having the job that we have. It's really easy to look at all of the negativity, all of the ways that our spouse just doesn't quite add up to what we'd like them to be, all the ways our kids get on our nerves, all the ways our jobs just aren't up to par, all the ways our country just aren't as good as we want them to be. And when we focus on the negative, and we start our day out looking at how things just aren't as good as they're supposed to be, it steals something special from the day. But when we focus on the mercies that God has given us, how he's gave us a companion to wake up next to. He gave us kids to love and cherish and try to teach. He gave us a job where we can impact other people and provide for our families. He gave us a new morning. When we focus on the mercies of that and God's loving kindness and the positivity of it, it changes everything. You see, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. But when we wake up, we are guaranteed God's mercies for that day. And so this morning, No matter what happens, know that God's mercies have been renewed, that God's loving kindness has been renewed. Right after that verse in Lamentations, it talks about how God's faithfulness lasts forever. No matter what happens to you today, God is faithful. And whether this is your last day, or you've got 30 days, or you've got 100 more years, God will be faithful. And his love never stops. So remember that no matter what happens today, God's got this. He is faithful. He is merciful. And though the heavens may fall, though the earth may quake, though my life may feel like it's spinning out of control, God's got the whole world in his hands.